the most famous door in the world. Theresa May still lives there. The question is, for how long? Her attempt to shore up her support through the election fell flat with voters, and now there are even whispers that there'll be a challenge to her leadership. But where will that leadership challenge come from? It could be from right around that cabinet table, or perhaps someone from the next generation. We've got three simple questions here. First, she asserts that she will stay until the next general election. Can she? Second, will conservative MPs allow her to stay? And third, who is best positioned to replace her if they make her go?
Our audience consists of strong conservatives and conservative-leaning floating voters, the swing voters that determine which political party controls the government. So while many of the people in this room are not able to vote in a conservative leadership election, they are well placed to tell us how any leader would fare with the public.
Word or phrase to describe Theresa May?
Marmite.
Marmite?
Love it or hate it.
I don't think she's very convincing as a leader.
Is your dislike of her because of her policies or because of her attributes?
It's because she didn't win. If she had of, it would be a totally different scenario. We would have all woken up the next day and it would have been, Rule Britannia, we're going into this strong, and unfortunately she didn't.
And she's not doing the right leadership things. You know, people are popping up beside her, making rather sordid remarks and comments, and she should just oust those people.
When she came in to lead, I was very impressed with her, and I thought she was going to make a good leader. And then she put that manifesto out, and she alienated so many people, including me.
Someone defend her.
She could have turned and run, she could have quit, they were calls for her to resign, and she actually didn't. She stood firm, she faced everybody head on, and she's just got on with the job.
I wanted Theresa May to be Mrs Thatcher, strong,
Yes.
able, and that can push us through Britain. I don't care whether she has...
Who agrees with that?
Yes,
Who
yes,
wanted
yes,
her to
yes,
be? So you, particularly over here, is she Margaret Thatcher? No. How does Brexit and guiding Britain out of the EU, does that make you like her more or less?
More. Brexit is so important to us now. If we start chopping and changing, the world is going to keep us as a laughing stock. And that's why it's not whether I like her or not. It's that we have to keep her to keep our status quo and our momentum.
Yes, and she's doing a good job. She's got no one is going to agree with every decision she makes. No one is going to agree with everything. It is like a divorce.
We asked our audience to watch some of the Prime Minister's speeches, and we gave each of them a dial to rate her performance on a second-by-second basis. I can see the results, but our audience can't. The red line shows what hardcore conservative voters think, and the green line shows what the floating voters think. A score below 50 shows a negative reaction, while anything above a 60 indicates that our audience likes what they hear.
It means accepting that the road ahead will be uncertain at times, but believing that it leads towards a brighter future for our country's children and grandchildren too.
I've been watching your reaction, and a lot of you are pretty flat. Little bit positive, but only a little bit. She's leading, for many of you, she's leading your party, and she is your prime minister. But the dials show a reaction that's really, really neutral.
She's not speaking on her own behalf. She's speaking on behalf of the 52% and not the 48%. So it's not surprising that it's only slightly positive.
It's not from the heart. She's just paying lip service.
There is something slightly lacking in her delivery. There's some strength.
You guys agree with that?
I like what she said.
I do like her speech.
I absolutely 100% admire her professionalism. She's utmost professional, but she needs more passion and empathy with everyone around her who's trying to support her and belief in what she's doing.
She was trying to come across genuine there, but it was a little bit underplayed.
If Theresa May leads the Conservatives into the next general election, who thinks the Conservatives win the next general election? Raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of you. So 15 of you don't. So you want her to lead the Conservatives, but you actually don't think she can win it. Why?
Because she started something that she's got to finish now. Yeah. Going forward, going through Brexit and everything, you know, people may change their minds.
Why do you think she wouldn't win?
She's not a natural-born leader. We need someone in there who can actually go to talks, stop dealing with minutiae matters and get on with the actual negotiating that we really need.
And who that person is exactly what we're going to talk about when we come back. Moments ago, we talked about Theresa May and what you thought of the Prime Minister and who should lead this country. Now we're going to get specific.
Of course, until there is a leadership contest, any number of candidates could come forward. But we looked at the 5 potential contenders who have repeatedly performed well in surveys of party members and opinion poll.
Looking at this list, and you see these 5, and you see her, does this make you want to make a change? Raise your hands. Less than half of you. Who says status quo? So you're not turned on by this list. How come?
It was backbench MP and government outsider Jacob Rees-Mogg who got the strongest first reaction.
I think he has some opinions on gay marriage that I don't think would settle well with the rest of the country.
He's a conviction politician, which is something the Conservative Party is badly missing at the moment.
Let's remove this.
And the taxpayer.
We then asked our audience to watch clips of each potential candidate and again use our dials to rate what they saw. A score of over 60 was a positive reaction, and anything under 50 is a negative, with the red line representing loyal conservatives and the green line representing floating conservatives. First up was Brexit Secretary David Davis.
This is a historic and positive moment for our nation.
Particularly with those on this side, he was off the charts. Why?
I think it's quite easy to accept coming from David Davis because he voted to leave, whereas Theresa May voted to remain. So I think there's a lot of credibility in what he was saying.
He was just really positive. The passion just came across so clearly.
Would you like him to lead Britain through Brexit rather than Theresa May?
He's already got a big job.
So you want him there?
Yeah. We knew what...
Then came Jacob Rees-Mogg.
Somebody mentioned HS2. I happen to agree that that would not be my priority for spending. I personally would raid the overseas aid budget, which I think is too big.
Right at the top of the scales.
It's very straight to the point and people can understand what he's saying, I think.
He has a posh accent, but that's not to say that he doesn't know what he's not one of the people. He is one of the people, and he's knowledgeable, and I trust him.
He names specific things. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Good thing.
Do they resonate with you?
Absolutely.
Because?
Because the money he wants to move from one place to another is what I would do myself.
But what about those views on abortion and same-sex marriage?
But hold on. None of these issues are party political. They are issues that are decided by Parliament on free votes. They are not determined by the Prime Minister. There's no
What's your reaction to that?
What he's doing is he's separating his own religious beliefs from his position as a politician.
It's obviously a personality contest, and that is not going to get you favour with the vote.
I think I fundamentally disagree with his opinion, but I think he articulated himself incredibly well.
The deficit is down by 3/4.
Chancellor Philip Hammond was next.
Of everyone you've seen speak, you're even laughing because you know what I'm going to tell you. Why?
She's so dull.
It's very simple. He could be an accountant.
He said to people on low income that they're £1,600 better off or something, 1,400, whatever. And that must really offend people who know they're not in real terms.
Did he connect to you at all?
Not really.
Why not?
Really dull, boring, just bland. I would fall asleep.
It's good with the number crunching, but for anything else, I don't think it's going to be anything.
Then we moved on to Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson.
We vote leave and take back control. I believe that this Thursday can be our country's Independence Day.
Could you ever imagine him leading the Conservatives into an election?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who could imagine it? Raise your hands.
He's a Columbo character. You may think he's a buffoon, but underneath it, it's all going in. He's very, very intelligent.
Yeah.
But then we played this clip.
I think one thing in particular that we are looking at is measures to. Hang on a second.
He should know the content of the Queen's speech. If he doesn't know the content, he was exceedingly badly prepared, which is poor.
That doesn't make you feel worse about him?
No, not in the slightest.
Why?
Because it's a rare time that he's got it wrong, but most of the time he gets it right. And you know he'll waffle from time to time, and then you just forgive him because it's Boris.
Finally, Home Secretary Amber Rudd.
She stood in for the Prime Minister in that leaders' debate. Could she stand in and lead the Conservative Party?
I just don't think she's got the fire.
I think she's very capable. I don't think she's leadership material. She's backroom staff.
I would agree.
Let's bring the board in.
We then asked the audience to vote, one by one, for each person they would eliminate from any potential leadership race. Philip Hammond was quick to go, followed swiftly by Home Secretary Amber Rudd. But the next casualty was a surprise.
I want one more to go. So what's the issue?
The Tories need him, but not as Prime Minister. He's the warm-up act.
The warm-up act.
He's the warm-up act.
If the decision is...
The audience was split on whether Theresa May should be replaced as Prime Minister by one of our two remaining candidates.
Even though Britain is leaving, you want her to remain.
But I got a definitive response on whether she should stay long-term.
And now let's say the negotiations are over, Brexit has happened, and it's time for a new election. All else being equal, who do you want to lead the Conservatives into the next election? Who says the Prime Minister? Not one of you.
In my professional history, this is the first time my focus group is unanimous in not supporting the incumbent. And then it was time to determine the winner.
Who says Jacob Rees-Mogg? 8, 10, 12. Who says David Davis? 10, 12. 12, and someone who doesn't like either of them. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your government.
It made America realise that Britain was her real and true friend when they were hard up against it and wanted something, and that no one else in Europe was. They're a weak lot, some of them in Europe, you know. Weak, feeble.